Previously, we arrived at our beautiful cottage in Calibishie, northern Dominica. The cottage was perched upon a cliff with the most stunning views. After settling in, we visited a local restaurant where we had some delicious seafood with gorgeous views of the ocean. Plans for a relaxing final day in Dominica were dashed when I realised that I'd left a pair of footwear at our previous accommodation over an hour away in Rosalie. It may sound crazy, but I was determined to retrieve them, so we began our extensive drive south to rescue my flip-flops. Mission complete. My flip-flops were kindly moved to just before the zipline trail, so at least I wouldn't have to zipline over rivers to get them. It was time to journey back north. As inconvenient as my forgetfulness was, at least we had the opportunity to stop off at Pagua Bay House on Dominica's east coast for some yummy lunch. Okay, so let's go through the food. Here we have our taco. So this is a goat curry taco, and it's got some cheese and some vegetables. Here is the chicken. I got the chicken barbecue and spicy, and we got a little ollie dip. And then this is the dasheen puffs. And dasheen is like a potato thing. But lunch was not without its drama. The resident cat was hunting a lizard. Oh no. It was difficult to watch. Cats can be so cruel sometimes. But then the cat set her sights on an even better prize. Cheesecake. He wants some cheesecake. I couldn't blame her. The cheesecake was delicious. Then another lizard scuttled across the path, and once again the hunter's instinct set in. Now that our meal had been polished off, it was time to resume our journey. Besides, I was very excited for our afternoon activity that we were soon to embark on. We were going to spend the afternoon exploring the local beach, located at the base of the cliff where we were staying. Ooh, here's the way to the beach. Oh look, it's my flip-flops, which we'd just driven all the way to get. The narrow path down to the beach was steep and overgrown, making for an adventurous journey. Wow, how beautiful. Our only company along the overgrown path was a small hermit crab.
He's in a shell.
He's a little hermit, isn't he?
Yeah, a little hermit crab.
Hello, guy. Oh my god. Oh, that is the most adorable thing ever. So cute. Aw, you go, little dude. The track seemed to go on forever, journeying deeper and deeper into the forest. Ooh, feels like we're really going off into the unknown. Reaching flat ground was only half the journey, as we then found ourselves ducking and twisting around trees. We didn't know exactly what we'd find at the end of the trail. Up ahead we saw light shining down the trail. As we approached, an opening in the trees appeared, and we suddenly found ourselves at one of the most remote and beautiful beaches I had ever seen. The majority of the beach was carpeted with bright green creeper plants, a sign that the beach was left natural and untouched. Oh my god! Wow. And behind them was a thick forest of palms, which seemed to stretch on forever. It just looks untouched. There was no beach development here, something I'd never seen before. We were on the east coast of the island, meaning that we were facing the Atlantic Ocean. Therefore, the sea is much rougher on this side of the island. Even if I wasn't going to take a dip today, it was still beautiful to look around and explore.
Being filmed.
Okay. Oh, I'm not tired. Oh no, my cream's got in hair.
Anyone can see that.
And then I landed badly on my ankle, which made the journey back up the cliff a little challenging. Wow. There were a lot of steps to contend with. You okay? As we reached our cottage, the sun was starting to set. It was bittersweet, being the final sunset on our Caribbean journey. The past week had been one hell of a ride. From tropical storms cancelling our flights to lodges with only zip lines for access, it was a trip filled with many challenges, but also many spectacular moments, and this sunset was one of those beautiful moments. The following morning, our flight would be departing Dominica and heading for Barbados at 7 a.m, meaning we'd have to wake up at 4 a.m. if we were to make it on time. Therefore, we were going to do all our packing the night before. We packed up our things before heading down to the local town of Calibishie to our new favourite restaurant, the Coral Reef. This time we indulged in some slow-cooked pork ribs, a dish we'd sampled several times on our journey that was heavenly every time. Once our meal was polished off, it was time to head back to our cottage, one final time. The day had come. It was time to say farewell to Dominica and thus conclude our Caribbean adventure. It was with a heavy heart that we left the glorious untouched island of Dominica behind us. But just as our adventure was drawing to a close, whilst coming into land in Barbados, we were given a gorgeous view of the island. It really was the perfect way to end our adventure.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Barbados. It just landed on the ground at Calibishie International Airport. Just on safety, please remain seated until the aircraft comes to a complete stop. And a fasten seatbelt sign on the panel above your head has been switched on. When leaving the aircraft, please take off the jet overhead compartment. Underneath the seat in front of you are the seat pockets for any items in the app store there. Excellent Scotch for these compartments. Let us know you come close to the flight and please follow.